Hello and welcome everybody to Pizza Club's Pizza Industry Convos. I'm Michael Fox from Pizza Club. Tonight we're going to be chatting with Jeremy Galvin of Master Pizza here to talk all about the International Pizza Expo and the International Pizza Challenge for 2025. Jeremy, welcome to Pizza Club. Thanks for coming on.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me. I'm excited to chat about the show. I'm getting excited. We're in 1 month. I think it's 1 month, right? We'll be there.
It's crazy.
I go in a little early, but I think I'll be there.
Yeah. So for those who aren't familiar with the International Pizza Expo and the IPC, talk a little bit about what that is and just to give a quick overview. And before we even actually get there, just once you introduce yourself, I mentioned that you work for Master Pizza. You don't just run the IPC, but that is part of what you do for the Expo.
Yes, I'm also a pizza guy. So I help Michael. There's four of us now, actually.
Michael LaMarca.
Yeah, Michael LaMarca. We run our company. We have 13 stores here in Northeast Ohio and trying to grow. You know, it's a tough time out there, but we're trying to grow and stay focused on making what we have work as best as it can. But most of the people know me, at least that will watch this, from the Pizza Expo. My team, my team and I, we run the International Pizza Challenge. There'll be either 20 or 21 of us this year. I think it's 20 is how many we're bringing this year. And we also take care of the demonstration stages for Pizza Expo. So we do a lot. It's a lot of fun. It's a great thing to participate in because I always tell the team, like, one of the best things that we do at this show is that we literally get to help change lives at this show. Because when you win this thing, even if you don't win, just going to the show gives you something to talk about in your community and gives you marketing. But if you place in your region or any kind of placement, or if you win, it's huge marketing. And anyone that has won, placed, or anything like that will tell you it gives you a lot to talk about. And people really love to come try the place that won something or has something to talk about. So it's huge. I've seen it change a lot of lives, including mine and Michael's and a lot of our friends. So it's pretty sweet.
Tell me what's new and improved in 2025 for the Expo and the IPC. I know that you've been working on kind of revamping things a bit and revising the way you do business. So tell us what to expect for those who maybe have been, or even for the first time, like what should they expect that's different?
Show-wise, I'm pretty sure it'll be the biggest show ever. I know it's the biggest floor plan. The floor plan is insane. It looks really nice. I think we're shifting forward to gain more space in the West Hall, which is super cool. And I could be saying it, the direction's wrong, but I know that the show grew quite a bit. So did the IPC, the International Pizza Challenge area. It's going to be massive. It was big last year. It's massive this year. I just ordered 20 new stainless tables 2 days ago with the people from Ops. So we're excited about that. And, we're adding more competitors. I mean, that's the goal every year, is to try to make it bigger and better because every year more and more people want to sign up. I mean, this year we had well over 100 people want to sign up for non-traditional. Traditional was 100. We're at like 102, I think. I'm sure there'll be some duplicates in there that we have to take out, but it's going to be big. It's going to be a big show. We grew the area. We're growing the amount of ovens that we have back there. Along the way, we've made some great adjustments to the competition itself with the judging process, the speed that we can run at, and the transparency. That's like the biggest thing that the competitors were asking for, was transparency and feedback from the judges. So honestly, like, we're basically opening it up as much as we can while still maintaining the anonymity of the judges. We don't have and most of the judges don't have a problem with people knowing that they're a judge. The part that we protect is who judges what. That way there's never any kind of, ill feelings or anything like that. We want to avoid that as much as we can, obviously. But yeah, we're opening that up quite a bit. We have the judges orientation coming up soon. That's going to be available on YouTube once the orientation classes are done. So the competitors will get a chance to come see what we're teaching at the orientation. They can hear the questions that the judges are asking, really see kind of behind that curtain of, what are we doing? How are we doing this? And all of this is really leading up to the ultimate goal of having certification. Right now, the plan is, we were trying to pull it off this year, but it was just too much. Right now, the plan is for 2026, all judges will be certified, which means they'll have to go through a course, pass a test so then hopefully we get it done, and we should. For 2026, you'll have to be certified to be a judge for the International Pizza Challenge, either in Pizza Expo or in Columbus. So it's exciting. That's like a big thing, not just for the competitors. It's great for the competitors because they can really feel very comfortable that their judges know what they're looking at and what they're doing. And in addition to that, it gives the judges a nice accolade to have on their resume. It's never bad to say that you're a judge in one of the biggest and arguably one of the most important pizza competitions in the world. So we're really proud of it.
That's exciting. And
yes.
I know that you really wanted to increase the transparency and kind of standardize a process. And it seems like you guys are making strides. And by next year, you'll have a whole standards in place, which is really great.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that's changing, or those are the kind of the big things for this year?
In the pan division, there's some nice changes in that I think the competitors will really love. We added subdivisions within pan. Up until now, you could either win pan or highest scoring Detroit, which is the Sean Mendazzo Award, which is great, and that's going to stick around. But we also added top scoring Roman, top scoring Grandma, top scoring, I forget what all the different versions are, but it's in the rules. So now, even if you don't win pan, in traditional and non-traditional, we have regionals. You can win your region even if you don't win, which is huge marketing. That's still a big deal to win your region. It's a big deal. So for pan, instead of doing regions, we decided to do subdivisions with, like I said, Roman, Chicago, deep dish, that kind of thing. So we're still going to have, I think there's 5 or 6 total awards, and then the big one for pan. And then, so that's exciting. I'm excited about that because it gives us a little more awards for people to take home and talk about. And then for cheese slice division, which is a super awesome division. It's so much fun. That one, we're going to do regions as well. We're going to add regions to that this year. And that's
exciting. Talk a little bit about the cheese slice, because let's zoom in on that a little bit more. What is that?
So we started in Atlantic City, and it started with America's Best Cheese Slice, and then everybody loved it. So we brought it to Vegas, and Atlantic City ended. So we brought it to Vegas. We called it the world's best cheese slice, and it's open to all styles. Like any style could be in that. It doesn't have to be your traditional New York slice. It could be a slice of Grandma or a slice of Detroit. So that's super exciting because, it's something different. If you're going to test somebody's pizza, if I want to see what someone's pizza is, I go get a cheese slice. I just want to taste the
100%.
Yeah, I want to taste the sauce. I want to taste the cheese. Nothing there to mask anything that might not be great.
You can't hide behind cheese sauce and dough. It's hard.
Like it's different. We did it in Vegas and it was great. I think it's a really cool thing to win, and having regions is going to add even more depth to the process for the competitors. Like I said, it's even if you don't win best cheese, you could win best cheese in Midwest or best cheese slice in Northeast, that kind of thing. So I'm pretty excited about that.
And for the international friends, is there a separate region for international as well?
Yep. So anyone who's not in the continental, I shouldn't say that, if it's not in one of the 50 states or the territories, right? Like that came up one year. I forget where somebody was from, but it was one of like the U.S.
Puerto Rico, for instance.
Yeah. So if it's outside of the United States, it's international. So like Canada would be international. Italy, of course, international. Australia, international. So sometimes that can be a big category. Some years it's bigger than others. I can tell you this, we have the most ever by a lot signed up for Neapolitan this year ahead of time. We opened it up we had 80 online originally, and I was reserving 20 for on-site. But I think we're at like 98 in-house, like already signed up. And so I was talking to Bill about it today, about expanding it, because Neapolitan is such a quick division. Those pizzas cook fast, so we can really burn through those. And really our biggest bottleneck, every year the bottleneck changes because we adapt. We've added more ovens. That's no longer a bottleneck. We added more judges, but we added more people. Then that was a bottleneck. So then we have to figure it out each year how to make it a little bit better. So
yeah, it's a constant refining process of like enhancing what setup you have. Is there any other like changes to the setup behind the scenes that you guys have done in terms of like logistical stuff? Because I know, like you said, there's a lot of ovens and moving parts there too.
We added a 4th walk-in back in the back this year, which is huge. Last year was the first year that we did walk-in coolers as opposed to like 27 of those 2-door coolers. I don't know if you ever saw that before. It's cool and it was fine, but there wasn't a ton of space and it was getting really expensive because we rent those. So, we were going to need like 35 of them or something like that for last year. And so we looked up just renting a walk-in, a mobile walk-in. So they actually drive the walk-in. It's on wheels. It has wheels on the back. It's like on the truck like this. And they just drive it in, drop it, hook it up, turn it on. And then when it's done, clean it out, they drive it away.
Probably more efficient too.
It's way more efficient. We're running 4 pieces of equipment instead of 40. And there's way more room, and it's like home. Most of us that are in the pizza business are used to keeping stuff in our walk-in. We're used to having that kind of space. Dough trays don't fit real well in those little 2-door coolers because they're not designed for it. So I think everybody really loved that. I know I did. So we added a 4th one of those, a whole bunch more tables in the back because there's just so many competitors. And then judging area, judging this year is going to be 5 tables of 3. Last year we had 4 tables of 4, and we had a bit of a bottleneck there. Was it 4 tables of 4? I'd have to look it up, but I think it was either 3 tables of 4 or 4 tables of 4. But we had a bit of a bottleneck there. So when it comes to running a lot of competitors at the same time, we just need more tables. So we split that up a little bit, and then we gave the judges a nice lounge this year, which will be pretty cool. Someplace for them to relax in between their shifts.
Fancy.
Yeah, I mean, we want to make it as cool as we can.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, you kind of need them to be able to continuously eat pizza all day. So it's you need a break room.
Volunteer. Like 90% of 99% of them probably are volunteer. And I like it that way. There's been a lot of talk of this year about, because when we opened up the application to be a judge, a lot of people asked like, hey, do we get paid? And it's an interesting conversation because you want to say, yeah, of course. But there's a couple reasons why it doesn't make a lot of sense. In most cases, the judges will have 1 or 2 shifts. They're not there all day. They don't have any other responsibility at the show. So we're kind of, we're looking at it as, like I said, like an accolade, that if you're judging, it's a big deal to be a judge. It's not easy to get on the list. You got to know your stuff. You got to know the show. You got to know pizza. But getting into that is, it's a good place to be.
Do any of the judges in the past, how many pizzas do they eat in a session? Like you said 1 or 2 sessions. How many bites or how many slices, squares, whatever judging session would you say it is?
Well, per session, I think they usually only sit for about an hour. It's about an hour-long session. I have to look. I haven't seen the schedule yet this year. Bill's working on that now. It's a limited amount of time. And usually if somebody's sitting, they'll get a break before they sit again. Because it can be a lot, especially like the way there's a time limit to what we can expect people to eat. And that's why we add more tables, because I need to serve more pizzas, but I can't make people eat any faster. It's going to diminish the quality of their judging and they're going to get pissed. Basically what we try to do, I try to do the math so that we're serving a pizza every 1.5 to 2 minutes. And with 5 tables, that gives me about, 6 to 10 minutes in between each table having a pizza. It's usually 6 to 7 minutes.
So if you're doing your math right, it's 30 to 45 bites in an hour. Is that right? You're saying?
Well, if they're there
for a minute and a half,
it's about 10. So usually it's about 10 pizzas. A judge will see about 10 pizzas.
Okay.
On their shift. If I did that, I was out the camera, I think, but on their shift, you're good. It's about 10. But sometimes it's more. Sometimes we'll have people sit longer. Maybe a judge got held up for whatever reason, they didn't make it, and another judge will stand up and go sit at another table. So and we move them around. Just they don't have set tables. It's very the how do I say it? The layers of protection for this competition are deep. Like there's no way that anybody could do anything funny. It's just not possible at this point. There's too many layers of protection, of anonymity for the pizza and to the judge. Even if you had 2 bad people that wanted to cheat, they couldn't, because there's
too much moving around.
There's too much moving. There's no way. I don't even know I never know, actually. Nobody knows what table the pizza is going to land at until it goes in the room, And
is it all blind judging now, or still partially? So
it'll be 100% blind, except for the Pizza Maker of the Year and Best of the Best. Got it. Maybe if Dea is one of our sponsored competitions this year, If they choose to do public, they can. I mean, it's their competition. We're just running it for them. But more than likely, they're going to use our judges again because it's just easier. It's faster.
So this is a big change from the last few years, I would say. I mean, you've gone now almost all blind judging. You really have changed the process, and I think this is a continuum. It's going to keep going. So I'm sure there'll be learnings from this year too, I would imagine.
For sure.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, we learn something new every year. And for sure we have to make those changes. And again, it's just more layers. It's just more layers. I like to think that nobody's going to try to do anything bad, but in the world we live in, it's probably going to happen. We have to protect it, in any way that we can. We try to pre-think that stuff out. And then the other thing I was saying about, I'm not a big fan. I got lost when I was talking about the judges. I'm not about the pay and stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of having people on payroll. I just think that it opens a window that I don't want open. And again, that's just another layer for me. That's another layer of protection. To me, in a competition like that, the less people that we have on payroll, the better. Again, I just don't like to open windows. Windows, let drafts in.
Okay. Hey, whatever, you got to find the system that works best for you. I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about, as a competitor. I mean, I'm sure some people who are going to watch this video are going to be competing or thinking about competing in the future, or just curious about like, what does that even mean to be a competitor? If you were going to if I was competing and I was going to ask you, Jeremy, like, what should I think about when I'm going into the competition? What does this look like? Give us some sort of overall guidance for somebody who's new to this or returning and wants some sort of insight.
Yeah, I think if you're new, I think you should definitely try to come to the meeting on Monday. There's always a competitor meeting at 4 p.m. on Monday, every year. That's a super important meeting because we go over the rules word for word. Like we literally read the rules word for word, which is important because a lot of times people miss things. And then after we do that, we do a full Q&A. I mean, I've been there till PM before, answering questions. And that's what we're there to do. Like, we're there to help make this a great competition, not just from our perspective. We're very competitor focused. I was talking to Scott Wiener yesterday about it. And somebody had said, like, this is a great competition for someone that's just starting into competitions. And I take that as a serious compliment because it tells me we're really competitor focused. We're competitor friendly. And I think that comes from a place that every single person that's involved in this thing at some point was a competitor, pretty much. Tony G, he helped originate it back in the day. And, so the perspective has always kind of been from that vantage. So come to the meeting, ask a lot of questions, read the rules a billion times, and practice, bake, come bake. You're allowed to practice bake before on Monday after we're done with the meeting. People can hang around. I'm usually there till like 8. People can practice bake. I think the house kicks you out around 10. And then we let people practice bake in the morning before the competition starts as well. So, and after each day. So come practice. I always tell people, like, the most important thing, you got to have a good bake. Doesn't matter what kind of cheese you use. Doesn't matter how good your sauce is. None of that matters if the bake's not right. So, and these are ovens. Maybe you have the oven you're using, maybe. But even still, even if it's the same oven, it's going to be a little different than the one that you have. They're all a little bit different. And, that's probably the best advice I have is come practice, ask a lot of questions, talk to the other competitors. It's a nice community to be part of because people like to help. People like to, 9.9 times out of 10, the other competitors are really happy to see their friend win or somebody that they know win. Sure, they may be bummed a little bit that they didn't win, but to see a friend win is great.
Yeah, it's like a very communal atmosphere. I mean, the pizza business in general, from my experiences, everyone's kind of rooting for each other for the most part. So it's nice to see that happen. And I guess, competition is a great representation of that. So, I hope it goes well this year. And I guess the other question I had about the competitions for somebody new is, what is it that people, what are the things that people forget to do when they're preparing for this? I know we've talked about this in the past about just some of the crazy stuff that goes into preparation for some people. What are kind of besides, worrying once you're there, once you're getting the oven dialed in and really getting that perfected, because you're right, that's a really important part is like knowing the gear that you're going to be baking on. But what about in advance? Like, what are people missing still, even as of last year, that you're like always surprised, like, wow, this is something that is a consistent issue for people that they're not hitting the mark on?
I think a lot of people, I call it competition brain. Everybody gets competition brain, and it makes them very laser focused, and you forget multiple things happen. You can be rude to people you don't mean to be rude to because you're thinking about one thing. But I think a lot of times people miss their toppings. They forget about their toppings, and they don't really think about not just having what they need to make their first pizza, but boy, if I advance, I need to make the same pizza again. I don't know about every year, but almost every year I see somebody win and advance to the finals, I should say. And going into the finals, they're like scattering to find the ingredients to make the same pizza. I've had people just, again, they're not dumb. They just, you get like kind of scatterbrained, again, competition brain, where they're going to make a different pizza. And I'm like, no, don't make a different pizza. Make the one that, make the one that you have to make, the one that got you here, but there's been a few times where I've had to try to help people find their toppings if they didn't bring enough. That's probably one of the bigger things. And just allowing yourself enough time. I think that, and never leave the oven. I hate it when I see it. And we try to help people remember, you got to babysit because these ovens are different than what you have. I just get bummed out when I see somebody walk away from their oven when their pizza's in there because something's going to happen. It's going to get burned or it's not going to get cooked right, or usually it gets burned because they forget about it because they're working on something else, ready for to finish the pizza or whatever it is, if it's not traditional or pan or one of the ones where you're allowed to do stuff to when it comes out. That always hurts. I hate when I see that happening, because we can't, previous years, there's been some situations where we've let somebody cook a second one if they had enough time, but we're not going to allow that anymore. It's just, if you drop your pizza, it's a bummer. It just is what it is because it comes down to whether or not, and there was no situation where I think someone took advantage of it, but it's a situation that somebody could take advantage of. Maybe they don't like their pizza, so they drop it. And, I can make another one. I have 15 minutes left. So we had to, again, that's one of those windows that was open and a draft was available. And somebody pointed out to me and I'm like, man, that makes a lot of sense. It was actually Michael. Michael fought me on that because I was always kind of like, well, if they have time, but this thing's alive. This thing moves every year. We try to make decisions to keep, number one, the integrity of the competition. That's paramount, right? That's number one. Secondary is that it's a fun, good competition. The integrity is the most important piece because then people want to do it. If there's no integrity, nobody's going to want to come because the awards don't mean anything, or they mean less, maybe is the right way to say it. But it's got to be fun too. It can't be too restrictive in it. We still have to have fun to do it. So I took, when I heard about the comment of someone saying that's a great place for someone to start competing, I really took that as a compliment. That means a lot.
Yeah. It's interesting because we talked about the community and the camaraderie of this all, it's like, it feels like a safer place to fail, right? Because you're not going to win on your first attempt, or maybe you are, but for the most part, I feel like, a lot of people always that I've talked to in the pizza world, when they go there, they get like so much out of it for just competing and like being part of the process and the experience. And everyone's always like hesitant to try it and do it. But the minute they do it, they're like, why haven't I been doing this? Like what,
right.
Like what stopped me? And I'm sure you hear this all the time, but it's really interesting for me. I don't know what your thoughts are of that, but it's gotta,
people come to win and that's great. Everybody comes to win, but the secondary thing is come to learn. I'm 100% sure if you come to this thing and you're paying attention and come in with an open mind, right? Come in with an open mind. Forget the rules of the box that you're in at your pizzeria, because there's 2,000 other people here that also have a box. A lot of their problems will be the same, but some of them are going to be different that maybe you can learn from them and skip those problems because you heard about them before they hit you. Or maybe you'll just hear somebody that has a problem that you do and you learn how they solved it and it makes sense. There's a lot to learn at these things and people love to share, like we talked about. So, that's definitely a huge thing. So come to win, but come to learn. I think you'll get more out of it. If you don't win, you still win if you take something home, take home a new idea or take home a new piece of equipment that you found on the floor, something like that.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, look, it's great to win at a competition for sure, but I think you're right. There's so much to be gained and learned along the way. So
For sure.
why not just participate to be part of that and get something out of it? So 100%
For sure.
makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's so much we could talk about more. Is there anything else that you wanted to kind of cover? I know we could go into all the categories, but that might take a minute.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that, it's going to be a great year. I would just tell everybody, make sure read the rules, go check my emails, make sure you subscribe to the Master Pizza email. That's how we communicate. It's the fastest, easiest way for us to communicate with everybody. Make sure you read the rules. There's some new stuff this year. One of the things that changed this year for the first time is that previous years, if you had more than one location, you could have up to two people per division. We cut that back to one this year. There's too many different places trying to get in to allow two people from the same place to compete. It just doesn't make sense anymore. So we changed that. That one's been a little bit of a hurdle to get through because it's new. So a lot of the competitors, when they signed up two people because they could in the previous years, but it's an important one. Part of this thing's growth is to make sure that every place, as many places as possible, can be represented. And it's just at that point now where it makes the most sense to have that restriction. Other than that, I mean, in the emails, there's the FAQ. That's super cool. There's a ton of questions in there. Most of it's that's why it's an FAQ, because I get them every day. That's all in there. Keep an eye out for the judges orientation. That's going to be public. Some people might be able to get into the actual class, like live. I don't know how many spaces we'll have open because we're going to have all the judges, and then we're going to invite a few people with podcasts and things like that, like yourself, to come participate, come see it, and I think I'm excited about it. Scott's really excited about it. Everybody that is involved, I think, is really excited about that, the continuation of that transparency for the whole thing. But even if my limit's 100, that's the thing. I can only have 100 people in the room, and I know there's going to be like 60 or 70 judges and probably 5 to 10 just other public people that we want to have to be able to talk about it. Like that way, when we do your show, you're like, you really know, like it's not just what I'm telling you, you've seen it and been part of it. But even if you can't come see it live, we're going to put it on YouTube. It'll be recorded. And both shows, we're going to do 2 orientations. That'll be recorded, and then it'll be public.
Awesome. Yeah, no, again, transparency is good for judging, and I think it's only going to make the process more, just more accessible to people that know what's going on behind the scenes, and hopefully instill confidence for what you guys do. And I know you guys work hard, and I know,
Sure.
we've talked about this a lot on Pizza Club. Like I just know that, there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes that people will never see. And the amount of preparation that you and Michael and the team do in advance of the show is astonishing. And I know you're constantly meeting with, the team and everything. So for those who don't understand, like, this isn't just like they show up and like, all right, let's figure this out. Like there's a lot of preparation involved in this. Kudos to you guys for everything you do.
Thanks. It's fun every year. The day we start talking about the next year, we're already talking about 2026 and what we're going to plan for that. And then I know for sure, I'll get an email from Bill or someone else on the team, and they'll say, hey, here's what I'm thinking for next year. I do like a big email that I send to everybody. Like while I'm recovering, like when we get home from Vegas, I don't do anything for like 4 or 5 days. I mean, I am jello. I'm a mess mentally, physically. I'm done. Cause I leave it all
exhausting.
I leave it all on the floor, and I'm happy as shit to do it. I hope I can cuss on here. It's the only one I did. So
You're good.
I'm honored to do it. So, it's a, yes, I'm sore and I hurt. And last year I lost my voice. I'm going to really try really hard not to lose my voice this year. But anyway, when I get home, I write a big email to everybody and, thank everybody for their help. And also just immediately put my thoughts of what we can do better the following year, necessarily calling out mistakes, because we're going to make mistakes. It is what it is. That's not the important part. The important part is what we do about it to prevent those kind of things from happening the following year.
I love that.
It's a fun email.
Yeah, no, it's a fun process. Well, for those watching who are not signed up to compete, or maybe you're watching this after the competitions and you're thinking about the next year, that's great. Head over. But what's the best way that they can log on to that? We can put a link in the show notes below.
Yeah,
in the description below
to sign up, like for next year. I will say this. I will say this, since you brought it up, I'm glad you did. If you plan to play, if you want to play, you want to come compete, start early. Pay attention to the socials, Pizza Expo's Twitter, Facebook account, Instagram. When it goes live, like when registration goes live, almost always you can register, for the competition as soon as Reg opens. Sometimes it's a couple days later, but they will announce it. I'll force it out on my Facebook. I don't have a ton of followers. Michael does, but we'll both put it out there as well. Sign up right away. Sign up right away because it fills up quick. We add huge amounts of people every single year, but like non-traditional, we had 110 spaces. It's the most we've ever had. Last year was 100. We added 10 this year. It was full within 20 days, I think, of opening registration, which is pretty fast for that many people. So come early, get in there early because it fills up quick. And we can put people on a wait list, but usually probably only the first, 5 or 10 people on that list make it because there's only so many people that drop out or duplicates or whatever. So I'll say that. Pay attention to that and get signed up early. I'm still getting emails right now like, hey, can I get in? Can I get in? Like, man, I'm 20 deep on every wait list. Well, 10 to 12 deep on every single wait list now, right now.
Wow.
Yeah. Except DEA.
So 2026.
Yeah, I think the DEA competition, I think they're going to open up. I think there's 7 spots available, I think. And they're going to open that up. If they didn't already, they're going to open that back up. That's a cool competition. That one's the vegan, plant-based. That is super cool. I think it's great because it's different. It's new business. I'm super behind it because we added it at Master Pizza. Michael was pushing it real hard. And, I'm always kind of like the no guy. Not really. I have to, it's my job to figure out how to do it at 13 locations, 53 times on a Friday night, so like it has to work. It has to make sense. And a 16, 17-year-old kid needs to know how to do it. I know not everybody's in that exact situation, but that's the situation we're in. But once we put vegan on, man, we picked good products. We picked a really good cheese that melts, plant-based cheese that melts. And that's hard to find. They're out there. And really good meat products. And people, I'm not kidding. I get 5 to 10 emails a week thanking us for our gluten-free products and our vegan products. And they don't care how much it costs. They're just happy to have good food, So I get excited about that competition because I believe that it can actually, again, help improve lives. It can help make your pizzeria busier. You're not going to, I'm not saying go open up a vegan spot because it's probably not going to, you're going to have a tough time depending on where you're at. But adding it to your menu, that's, even if it's just 1 or 2% of sales, that's new business, pure new business that you literally didn't have before. That, the family, because now the family can eat. If somebody wants to eat vegan, then, now you're on that list for the family to eat. Anyway. I love that.
It's a great point, and I hope and look, maybe because it's one of the few that you can actually get into, maybe that'll inspire some pizza makers to dabble in that area and play there. It's great that you guys are sold out or booked up all so far in advance, and I start thinking about 2026 then if you're competing. And listen, if you're going to watch, it's a great time too. It's a great spectator sport. There's you got a fan section with seating and there's pizza to eat that's from the competition. It's a lot of fun.
Wait till you see it. The floor plan is ridiculous. It's humongous. I think there's 3 sets of bleachers. I think there's seating for like 700 people now, and 20 prep tables, stainless. We already had 20. We had 20 last year. So, but now there's 20 stainless. So we'll probably have 30 total tables. Because that stuff's expensive, we can't buy it. We can't buy it all at once. But we add a little every year.
Yeah, keep growing and grow. Yeah, no, but it is a fun spectator sport. That I guess that was my point. Is that if you can't make it in, watch and learn, and then regroup for next year because it's a fun time. So
for sure, I'm super stoked. My middle son is old enough to be on the floor this year, and his spring break aligned. So my middle son's going to come with me. He works at Master Pizza Medina. So I'm really excited for him to come see this side of the industry because it's different, It's
cool.
It's a different thing.
No, it's fun that you get to bring the fam and check it out and see what you guys are doing in the action. Well, Jeremy, this has been a lot of fun. I know we could talk for another hour about this, and I'm sure we, easily we'll do that on Clubhouse. But
Yeah.
tell us for those who are interested to learn more where they should go. I know you're already booked up for this year for the most part, but you said there might be some openings in one of the competitions, and there is still a wait list for others, although it's going to be pretty tight. Where should people go?
So go to the Pizza Expo website. On there in the competition section, there's an email for Bill Oakley. You can email Bill. You can email me. It's jeremy@masterpizza.com. You can email either one of us if you want to get on the wait list. The biggest thing you can do is send us your badge number with the email, because we need that to make it like official. And if you send it to me, I'll send it to Bill. If you send it to Bill, he'll send it to me, because it's at this point, this close to the show. Like, I talk to Bill almost every day. We literally were on the phone right before this started, talking about what we're going to talk about tomorrow, because there's so much movement this time of year. We're figuring out how many people we can move over from the wait list to the actual competition list, to the roster. Roster is going to come out in like 2 weeks. So there's still time. There's still time to get on the wait list. And anybody who goes regularly knows, on site, if I'm missing someone and I see you and you ask to be in it, you're in. You know what I mean? Like because they want full competition. So that's kind of one of the, I've called people out of the crowd before. Been like, hey, are you ready? This guy didn't show up. I waited an hour, because they have like a window. But then we move people around all the time because they're in other competitions. Maybe they're going to a seminar. So we try to be accommodating, but we can only wait so long.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's a lot of good inside tips right there.
Yeah.
And so so suit up, be ready to go, and you never know, be in the stands, like just, call me and coach, and, it might happen. So
it absolutely happens. I've told 2 or 3 people already, bring your stuff, be ready to go. Because if I can fit you and I'm not like going too far over the limit, I'm fit you. But it's tough.
I love how that happens. Okay, well, we'll wrap things up here. And also, how can people follow Master Pizza on social media, or you? What's the best way to follow you on Instagram or wherever else you hang out?
At Master Pizza is number 1. That's okay. Where you'll see most of our action. Michael's really active on social. I'm not.
Okay.
We're the same age, but I think I'm older in that respect than he is.
What's Michael LaMarca's handle? Just so
I think it might be at Master Pizza, but it might be at Michael P. LaMarca.
Yes.
More than likely.
Yes. We'll put it in the link below.
Yeah. I don't even know what mine is. I couldn't tell you. I'm sorry.
All good. Jeremy, thank you again so much for making time. And I think it's going to be an excellent expo this year and competitions, and looking forward to catching you up on the flip side of this. Maybe we'll have more conversations about next year to come. So good luck out there. And as far as Pizza Club, follow us on Instagram. I Need Pizza Club, all one word. And be sure to subscribe to our channel here on YouTube and like this video, give it a thumbs up. And we'll see you next time. This has been another episode of Pizza Industry Combos, part of the Pizza Club Network. And we'll see you soon. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you, brother.